R&B Money. We up. Thanks. Valentine. We are the authorities on all things R&B.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tank.
I'm Valentine.
And this is the R&B Money Podcast.
Yes, it is.
The authority on all things R&B.
Yeah. Business.
Big business. Tenured business. Yeah. Sometimes you in this game and then you're no longer in this game. But sometimes you in this game and you stay in this game a long time because you've done some real cool shit.
Yeah.
Starting with cool shit.
Are you?
I'm cool, motherfucker, man. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Grayson in the building.
Yeah! Oh my God. What an introduction.
We go back like a 6-pack of scoliosis. Come on now.
Scoliosis?
To see you back.
It is you back. It's, I got it now. Thank you. I was like, oh. Hilarious.
You've been doing this a minute.
A minute. I thought you were about to say a million years.
No, not a million, but
because it's close.
A minute.
Yes.
A minute.
Yes.
All like
both of you.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
But all really good stuff. And I say that because, going through this business can do so many things to you if you're not grounded in who you are. Mm-hmm. And every time I've seen you since the beginning, you are 100%, 150% you.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Listen, you are you.
You still got on Chucks.
No, dirty ones.
This is you. That is
dirty
anyone
ones.
who knows you knows. Okay,
just in case some action got to kick off.
She's gonna have on Chuck Taylor.
I am. I really am. That is so funny. I take it as a compliment.
No, but because the consistency is everything, right?
Yeah.
And having the friendships and having the relationships with good people is everything.
Yeah.
Especially people you can depend on. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's not even business when it comes to that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like that person is going to say, "You good? How's the family?" Like that type of thing.
Yeah.
That is bigger than this business, and you don't have that with everybody that you come in contact with this thing. And so, to see, like, you know what I'm saying? Every time I see you, I'm like,
he like, she cares.
You know who we been.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, like, for us and even this pod, it's always great because we love to get into the intricacies of how this thing moves. And everybody is so enamored with, who's in the video and who's on the songs and all of these things. I mean, maybe now they're into the producers and somewhat the writers, you know what I'm saying? But you've been orchestrating it from an artist, songwriter, producer standpoint since the beginning, which has helped shape all of this. Like, you know what I mean? And so you're important so that they understand, like, women in this business also make this motherfucker shake. Period.
A lot more now, thankfully.
Hey, first of all, we're going to get it back. R&B, we're going to get it back. Fellas, we're getting our ass kicked.
Just saying.
We're getting whooped. What? So you pull somebody's hoodie over their head, you uppercut. That's how we getting whooped right now.
You're holding it down.
It's just, I can't do it for myself.
They're going to pull a beanie over his eyes.
They're going to pull my beanie.
And start punching him in the face.
Like, you better keep that 8-pack. Let me just let you know now.
Hey, I'll be in the gym just 30 more minutes.
30 more minutes.
So they can't take it from me.
Oh.
But let's start from the beginning, Erica. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start with, was this always a desire of yours to be in the music business? Because this shit is different.
No. I mean, well, you got to think, like, I didn't know I could. So I didn't grow up. I'm not from LA. I'm from New York. I didn't I didn't know anyone that was in music. Like my father loved music. So then by proxy, you get exposed to all the things that your parents listen to, and I'm looking at their vinyl and listening to songs over and over and over again. And I didn't think about this until years later, but I was like, I used to sit there, pull the jacket sleeves out of albums and listen to records with the lyrics. So like from then I loved songs and lyrics, and I've always been a lyric girl. And it's funny now, I'm like, oh, I've been doing this since I was a kid, but I never knew anyone that did. So when I went to college, I went to USC in Los Angeles.
What got you to USC? Because that's not an easy
Being
school
smart.
Okay, all right. I want to start there. Let's start there.
I was a Dean Scholar in high school, and
Dean Scholar.
All I
don't
knew,
even know what that means.
It just means you get good grades.
To me, like she was like,
No, I'm just saying.
she was a
I heard honor roll.
Yeah,
Do you go to Dean's?
Yeah, so so
Shit.
you
AP class?
AP classes, and so you only know, especially back then, like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Kids that do they fascinate me, because I just was like, I don't know. Like my parents work jobs, and so you're like, I know college, from everything I've seen on television, is how people have careers. So you go to college because you're like, well, that's like, you go to college, you get a good job. Your whole life you hear that. So I went to college, and I don't know if I was like, this is the college I want to go. All that stuff that people experience now, I was just like, they gave me the most money. Sorry USC, like, because I know it's like a big ta-da school, but I literally be like, why'd you pick USC? I'm like, they gave me the most money to go there, so I picked there because we didn't have money. And
USC is not cheap.
No, but it's private, so they give you more funding, I guess. So that was it. It was like I was in music the whole time, but didn't know. So I was like doing things like this thing they used to have called Songfest, where they would have organizations would compete. I'd work with the Black Student Union, of course, because I wasn't in fraternity or anything. And you would put together like a show. They would take popular songs and change the words, and like it had a theme, and you perform at the shrine. And like one year I was in it, the next year I was, like choreographing and directing it, and had to get music made. And I was figuring it all out. I didn't know I was in music. I was just doing like the Songfest thing. Right. So you don't think, like, it doesn't feel like it's possible. And I had roommates in college that were from Los Angeles. They used to go to like rapper videos and like all in the videos, and I would be at home because I wasn't cool. I would be at home and be like, how did you do that? Like, how do you know about videos and where artists are going to be? Like, that's crazy. And I loved music so much, but that's not a career. Like, I'm not a singer. I'm not a rapper. I'm not a dancer for real. Like, that's not a career. So I think it was more so, it was like my junior year of college. This guy, I can't remember his name now, but he used to be in one of my classes, and he was an engineer. He was older, and he was getting ready to graduate. And, he's an engineer major. So I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, I'm going to start my job at Coke. And I was like, you don't work at Coke as an engineer? And he's like, oh yeah, I just did engineering so I could, have this skill set because I want to be this person in business. And I was like, oh my God, like I was like, oh, you could like get an education and still like be whatever you want to be. And so I was like, huh. And he was like, what? And I was like, well, I really like music, but like I'm a communications major, and like, I'm trying to figure out like how to go get a comms job somewhere or whatever. And he was like, how long have you been working? And I was like, shit, I have a job since I was 15. And he's like, well, you could work anywhere. Like, do something you want to do. And I swear on everything I love, because I am so corny, I went back to my apartment on campus, like with this like determination, like a scene from a sitcom, and like called my parents and was like, I'm gonna work in the music industry.
Off of one conversation.
Yeah, I'm dead ass.
With like, a nigga that was about to go work at Coke.
Dead ass serious. My parents were like, okay, but it was like I had all this courage. Like, I have found purpose.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was so funny. And I from that moment on, I was like researching and internships and like, just like, how do I get in? How do I get in? How do I get in? And, you know, eventually I got an internship.
So you didn't ask none of your video Vixen homies?
You know,
Take me down to the
bless them. Their desire for music was a little different than mine.
yeah, I get it.
Like,
Yeah.
they
I get it.
enjoyed the fruits of hip hop at that
Fruits.
time.
the fruits.
The fruits.
I not so much.
Is that a way to say they end up being somebody's baby mama?
Listen,
Yeah,
you can spin it.
I did not say that.
Fruits is so many things.
They just enjoyed being on set.
Yeah. I
From
get
what
it.
I
get
understood.
it.
I was never invited, of course, because, you know, I'm not cool. But so I started like somebody introduced me to a gentleman, Kerry Gordy, who is the son of Barry Gordy, who I kind of thought was going to be an internship, but was really like damn near a full-time job, which I didn't care.
And you still at SC at this point?
I am, yeah. And he's like, great, I like that. I don't know if you know Kerry, but like he talks really fast, and he's like, great, I love it. And I'm just like, my God, like also you know Barry Gordy, and like
You know Barry Gordy.
Yeah, like-
No Barry. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you gotta remember,
gotta know.
I'm so far removed from like, you know, I'm going to school full time. I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm like, I'm doing whatever to make sure I survive. And you meet a guy who's like related to Barry Gordy.
Who's
You're
really
just
in
like,
it.
this isn't real. This is not real life. And so he and his wife had a production company, and they, I'm no lie, were like, we had this album we finished and we need to turn all the credits in. So like, here. I'm like going through, I don't know.
So you're doing admin?
Nothing. When I say I know nothing, I'm like calling, like, oh, call AFTRA. Okay. Hi, AFTRA.
Hi, AFTRA.
I have this form and I have to say that this musician did this and that. I mean, like literally talk about get it from the mud. Just
Yeah.
like go
Crash
figure out
course.
how to deliver an album.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my whole life. Shout out to admin people.
And it was way different
Way
than
different.
what it is
Yeah,
now.
It wasn't
was
plug
actual
it wasn't plug and play.
phone calls
Yeah.
and
Hold
pencil
buttons
writing.
and hold buttons.
And hold, oh no. It was real.
Hold, please. And you're like, do, 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 do. Hi. Oh, hi. Yeah. So, okay. Just do I put, yes. Cause, and the other part was there was this immense pressure. One, I wanted to be great. And two, I didn't want to mess up. Right. Like, because the first thing I learned was like, if we don't turn this in, like we got to pay fees and fines. And so now I'm like, you know, I didn't know at the time, like, I shouldn't have probably been delivering an album. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing. So it's funny to me now, but like that was it. And then I probably wasn't even there 6 months when someone else that used to work there was like, you know what? At Jive, they're hiring. And I'm like, a word? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you a meeting with the president. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, so I'm so like, oh my God, like Jive Records, like, are you kidding me? Like Tribe Called Quest, like Will Smith, like what? Like I couldn't, all my favorite things in the entire world. And I'm like, you know, receptionist job. And I go for a meeting there and, you know, they're just, you know, they're interviewing me. Da, 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 da. I don't even think I told them I was in college because I was afraid that they wouldn't hire me.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, yeah, I'm available and I can do whatever and it's fine and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, okay. When I got the phone call, I tell you, I almost died. I about died. Like, I thought, like, it just didn't make any sense to me, you know, because it just doesn't, you don't know it. Again, you don't know anyone that this happens for. It wasn't Instagram where everybody's famous and knows famous people.
Right,
like
right.
nobody I knew famous
You're just going
people.
for it.
Yeah.
And so now you're in the office and like Tribe Called Quest walks in and you're like, you know, now you're talking to Kamal, aka Q-Tip, and you're, you know, driving him around everywhere. Like that was my job, was like
So
answer
what'd you
the
get?
phone.
You got hired as a receptionist.
I got hired as a receptionist, but the good news was it was pretty much the satellite office of the New York office.
Yeah.
So you do everything.
You have to do everything. Yeah.
Mail
Yeah.
records, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so-and-so's in town, drive them everywhere. Like, D Nice. I got assigned to Derek when he didn't even know this till later. It's so funny. I'm so corny. It makes me laugh. So I was assigned to him. They would rent a car for me because I was too young to rent my own car. And I would drive them around to go eat, to go to whatever, to Derek. I was also doing, he was doing like TV show auditions and stuff. So I would just be with him like for days at a time when he was in town, and like his intern, basically, like drive him everywhere. And years later, when he started to like, his DJ thing really started to be like, I don't know if you remember me, but I used to like be your intern. He was just like, oh yeah. Cause I would sit in the audition. Like I got to see him do TV auditions. Like I got to see everything. I used to have to go, this is so long ago, but I used to get sent over to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to go wait for Will to sign all the autographs. They'd be like, go over there and have him sign autographs. And
so you would have all the pictures and all the posters.
Yep. And I would just be sitting there like they just walk by, and then Benny Medina would be like, all right, you can go in now. And then Will would sign all the 700,000 and then I'd drive it back. And I'd just be like, I'm the luckiest person.
You're in it.
On the planet.
I was just hanging out with Will Smith.
Will, he's crazy.
Will's crazy.
He saw me.
He would say stuff to me. He was so nice, and I would just be like, oh my God, Will Smith is nice. Oh my God, he said a joke to me. Like it just didn't make sense. And so I love that part, like the discovery and the newness, and like I think as my career expanded, that's what I started to become attracted to, which is the newer generation of people and their excitement. Mm-hmm. The dream in your head. Like when I met you, and they're like, "This is Tank, the new guy from Virginia, and he's a singer." And like I'm like, and you could just see like I can't wait. Like I'm gonna be this,
I was excited back then.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, that's the part that like, that you covet, because, then there becomes other times that you need to have sensory recall and be like, oh yeah, I do love this. Right.
Yeah.
Cause you love it. And then sometimes you don't, cause it is a tough business. Mm-hmm. It's a tough business. Yeah.
So when do you get out of assisting and getting autographs signed to finally getting a real position? Somebody saying, "Hey, I think you would be great at this."
So it's interesting. I was very again, do everything. You're doing the list for the parties. Literally everything. And one of the things was that Jive and a company called Zamba Publishing at the time were connected, and they were in the same building. And so it's a satellite office, and the woman that was running that used to ask me. She was not proficient in R&B and hip hop music. That wasn't her bag. So she'd be like, hey, if you want to listen to these demos and you want to like songwriters. And I was like, of course. It was like a light again. Mm-hmm. It's like a moment where I was like, I love songwriters. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to work with songwriters. I don't even know what it's called. If there's a job for songwriters and publishing, right? Oh, publishing. Like it was just like this discovery. Mm-hmm. And so I would listen to songs, give her things, like tell her what I thought was good or not. And like, I was answering phones. So shit, I was important. Mm-hmm. Like that was exciting for me. And she was like, one day, and they used to call me the baby because I was like so much younger than everybody around there. And they'd be like, get it to the baby to do it or whatever. We got to get the baby a car.
Way before the baby.
We got to get the baby a car because she can't rent a car. Like it's just silly stuff. And she was like, a woman I used to work with by the name of Kathleen Carey is hiring at Sony Publishing, like for a job. And I was like, she's like, I should call her and just, you should meet her. And I'm like, oh my God. And at this time, I'm not just working at Jive. I'm like meeting artists that are like, you should manage me. And I'm like, okay. And like, let's go figure out how to make a demo, and like getting to A&R people and like playing their stuff and them almost getting a deal. So I was starting to like move around before people would be like, you got to move around. Like I was just kind of like, well, we probably need some music. Well, we probably need some photos. You know, you just were doing all of the things. And she introduced me to Kathleen, and I didn't know nothing. Like, I really was just like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm da-da-da-da-da-da. And Kathleen's like, you know, sweet. And I could tell she liked me, but I did not get the job. And, you know, I remember calling my mom. I was so sad. You know, I love my mom. I love my mom. And I was like, Mom, yeah, they hired somebody else and this and that. And whatever. My mom's like, I don't know. I think that's your job. And I'm like, Mom, okay,
it's gone.
I don't think you heard me. Literally hired another person. Not my job. She's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's your job. I'm like, Mom, Jesus, like, you're so cute. It's not my job. 2 weeks later, my phone rings. It's Kathleen. Kathleen was from Dallas. And so she's like, Erica. That's like how she starts the conversation. I'm like, hi. She's like, so I've been thinking, I really like you, and you just don't know anything. But I just feel like there's something about you that's making me feel like I should see you again. So I'm confused because I'm like, I know they hired somebody else. Can you come back in? And I was like, yeah, right? So apparently whoever they offered the job to, something weird happened and she didn't get the job. And it was a she. That's all I know. I come in. I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm like, be calm, be cool. Like, don't, you know, everything people tell you, like, don't get too excited. Like, I still don't know. Like, I feel like it's like a 13th interview at this point. I brought a CD of music, of things I like, things I would sign, things that I'm like, I'm all prepared, the things. Yeah. And so I'm meeting with her and the number 2 guy, and they're asking me different questions. And they asked me, like, I put my favorite cover, which was risky because I did intros, Ribbon in the Sky. Because I was like, I don't think Stevie Wonder should ever be covered, but this is the one time I felt like it did it just. I was just like, oh, everything I knew why. And so they're like, I think we'd like to hire you. Right. So my ass is like, okay, cool. Like, that sounds great. Like, I'm trying to be an adult. My ass is like, I'm going insane. So I'm like, cool. I was like, can I use the restroom? Like, I'm dying. I'm like trying to call my mother. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I come back out like, sure, that would be wonderful. Please let me know like what the offer is. And like, I'm stupid, right?
I think I heard somewhere they said offer.
Yeah, like, I was like, say offer. They're like, this would be your office. This would be your assistant. Mind you, I am an assistant. So I'm like, I have an assistant? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is not real. Like, she hated me, by the way. Shout out to her. She was much older than me. At the time, because she was already there. So she was like, who is this child in this job? And yeah, they like, she was not having it. She quit after like a few months. But I didn't even know how to use her because honestly, she was older. So part of me was like,
you were like Tom Hanks and Big. This is what I'm imagining.
Do you mind?
Can you give me some ice cream?
You didn't even know how to ask her for some coffee.
No,
I don't drink coffee, but could you give me some apple juice?
Do you think I have to take a flight? Do you know who I'm supposed to call to book my flight? Like, she's looking at me like, girl.
They said this thing called, I don't know what it's called. It's just letters.
Right.
I should have that when I fly.
They're like, she's looking like, you know, and it was just big. Like, it was just how and why. And like, and Kathleen, who's so wonderful, who I credit for so much of just taking a shot on me. Because even after I started, I remember, so then every day I thought I was going to get fired, right? Like, you're like, okay. Imposter syndrome. Yeah, you're like, I don't know nothing. They gave me this big ass job. I got an assistant. I don't even know how to use her. Like,
and you're at Sony Publishing.
Sony Publishing.
It's big publishing.
And I'm sitting in the office, my office, just like.
How old are you?
I think I was like 22.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, at this point now I've graduated and I'm like,
But that's still wild.
I don't know nothing.
Your own office. Yeah.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like, okay, what do I do? Like, what do I call people?
So did you? Okay, so here's my question.
Yeah,
How did you used to fill up your day?
that was the problem. So initially I was listening to everything.
Okay.
Like I was pulling out all the music and familiarizing myself with the roster and like dreaming up where I thought people should work. I knew that much, but I didn't know, right? I just was, and Kathleen again, she walks by my office and she's like, I was like, I don't really know where to start. Like, I was just very honest. And she's like, and she used to tell this story, which used to make me feel so good. But she was like, you know, one day I just told her to pull out the directory and call people and introduce herself. And she would say it. I never had to tell her anything again after that, which is not true. But I appreciated that she felt like I was a self-starter because I was. I wanted to figure it out. So then it was, hi, this is Erica Grayson. I'm from Sony Music Publishing and blah, 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 blah. Like each person, and then they'd be like, come on in. And then you know, and then eventually you get a rhythm and you get it. But it was really, for me, like, I didn't even know then that I was in the industry because for me, I still was a kid excited to be around all of these people.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think that like looking at myself as someone ever happened because I was always like, holy shit, that's so-and-so, or I'm with such and such, or and I'm at this convention. And like, it was always just like, I can't believe I'm here. At some point, somebody's just going to be like, dude, what are you doing here? You know, and it just never happens.
It's interesting to hear the beginning for you because it brings back a memory for me where I had my first job opportunity was with Ira Jaffe
Oh, yeah.
at Famous Music.
Yeah. Oh, Ira.
Which I was signed to.
I remember.
I was signed to Famous Music, and then Brian Postel left, and then Ira offered me his job. And Brian had signed me.
Right.
Right? And I'm like, no?
Like that. I'm
no,
the
I don't.
the other guy.
Right? And I think at the time I might have been 20,
Yeah.
19, 20, something around that.
Yeah.
And I'd only been signed there maybe a year, if that, 6, whatever it was. And I remember Ira saying to me, he's like, I'm going to give you the weekend to think about it. Right? And then we talked again that Monday, and we talked, and he could just hear it in my voice. I had been fighting with it all weekend or whatever. Because, you know, in my mind, I'm like, oh, man, I go from being a writer to now I'm signing everybody. I'm about to be cracking. And that's why I asked, like, how'd you fill up your day? Because I was thinking about that. Like, when I get there,
what do I do?
What would I be doing? Right? Will I not be taking these niggas' calls?
Right.
And
Hilarious.
And I remember Ira was like, Jay, I think you would do great at this, but I don't think it's time yet. And he kind of let me off the hook.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, damn, I think you kind of fired me already.
You're like,
It's cool.
You were like, wait.
I don't really know if I wanted it.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting for you to tell your story because like I had those thoughts in my head of like, how would I do it if I was on the other side of this? Right? And for you to, and it's crazy because like you're practically the same age when this happened for you. So it's just wild. It's wild to hear that.
It's funny now because I always, now I'm, the OG. But I always tell people, like, nobody knows what they're doing.
Well, we're unks now.
Yeah.
We
Do you not like Unk?
I like Unk.
Oh, I like Unk. Yeah. Somebody was like, don't call me Unk. I was like, I'm kind of on the Unk thing.
An OG.
Yeah, I kind of dig it.
You know what I mean? It don't mean the same as it used to.
Yeah,
and it's like
I'm kind of feeling it.
You earn your titles.
If you're Unk and you're OG, that means you still in it.
That's how I
That
feel.
means you still
Yeah.
got some
Yeah.
cachet.
I be feeling
What about
grateful to
Pawpaw
be
though? When
here.
they start, what about they start calling you Pawpaw?
And that's old ass nigga. That's when you ain't in it no more.
It's just disrespectful too.
It is. I was
Those
like,
are
wait,
fighting words.
Tell that old ass nigga we don't.
I was like, first of all, that went somewhere way over there. It went from like to
Once it gets there, I know the disrespect is beginning. Nigga. That's when I start
really?
running off my accomplishments. Hey, motherfucker,
That's when he takes off his shirt.
yeah.
I'm still in this shit.
He starts doing maybe I deserve.
Got to.
Yeah.
So when you're at Sony,
Yes.
who's like the first like big artist, big writer that you like, oh shit, or somebody that you see early on that you're like, oh, this artist is about to crack.
Or the writer.
Yeah.
So I think when and I say we because my mentor, whether he claims me or not, Big John, and I think we changed publishing at that time a little bit because it really wasn't artists forward. It was a lot of like songwriter, singer, songwriter and producer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was him to some extent and Suzette Williams, who I will cherish forever. That was like, we could sign artists. We could do this different. Our senior people at the time that were our cohorts, but much older than us, were still like signing the traditional writers. We were like, shoot, we could go after the Brat, or we could go after, Jay-Z, who Big John ended up signing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tried to sign him, but it was like a joke. Like they were just like, how much? Girl, get out of here. You're 12.
Yeah.
Your money was young.
Yeah,
too.
man. They were like,
The budget you have was.
they were like, we really believe in you, but not that much.
Yeah.
But it was different then. And you see like Big John's, not his just all of his accomplishments, but also like his relationship with Jay.
Yeah.
It started from back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like we saw the talent easily. At that point, it was just about competing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, I had him. Like I felt like I think I got one deal we both wanted away from him, maybe more later, but which was Dutch.
Yeah.
When Dutch said that we be
yeah.
Yeah,
clubbing. And
really.
I remember, and I got
Andrew Hill.
and
He
we
did
were
Drew Hill,
going,
too.
yeah,
He
and we
did
were
Big Drew
going.
Hill.
I mean, when I say he was doing all the things, like I was like, oh my God, I have to go back to the company, and it was so funny because when I got the deal, and John our birthdays are 3 days apart, other than the years, but like we're both Scorpios, and competitive, And I remember, because I love John, and I remember seeing him at like the BMI Awards after, like, are you mad at me? And he was like, what? No, he's probably like, girl, you got 1 out of 19 deals. I ain't thinking about you.
Right,
but in my head, I was like, I hope he's not mad at me, for winning a deal. Like, because he just meant so much to me, but I also was like, I wasn't going to let the deal go, right? So it was that. And We Be Clubbing was so big, and it was exciting, and it was attached to a movie. Like, I was popping, in my head, but, I was just like, oh, I did something.
Mm-hmm.
And you just learn. Like, you learn what's a good deal, what's not a good deal. Like, you just have that, you have that thing. So I think everyone at that time, we were all kind of going after. It wasn't, I don't think I had some special vision. I just think we were all like, this is how I'm signed, and then either you won it or you didn't. Like, you won the deal or you didn't.
So how did can you, for the audience,
Sure.
right, and for people who don't really know much about that side of the music business, what were for you? Because obviously, times are different, but certain things still remain. What were things that made you want to sign a writer, producer, artist, writer, whatever those things? Like, what were some of the things that stuck out?
Like,
where
what
you
did I
were
look
like,
for?
yeah, like, okay, this looks like somebody I would want to work with, or sounds like somebody I would want to work with.
It was it grew different over time, like, because you also start to recognize, like, I was lyric and melody for me was like more my thing, right? Which again, I didn't. It wasn't automatic. I wasn't like, oh, I'm into lyric and melody. It was more what I discovered about myself over time. So I liked writers, I liked, I handled Babyface's, camp catalog, everything when I was at Sony. So, I mean, that was,
Yeah, Babyface.
it's Babyface,
Yeah.
right? So I liked beats. I obviously love hip hop. I'm from New York, but it was really about what things would say. And when oh my God, I'm like, this is so funny. When I was a kid, before music videos, before MTV, ladies and gentlemen, which actually was a thing, I used to sit in the car with my head back when my parents were playing music, and my parents would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd say, "I'm making music movies." And I would make videos up in
imagining.
my head to the songs that were playing.
Right.
So
Because they were so vivid.
they were so vivid. And the songs, the lyrics, the story is what always captivated me. And so for me, it was about like, yeah, of course, like they're working with so-and-so and they have this potential and that potential. But it was also just like from talent, it was someone who could tell a great story. And it's still that way.
Yeah.
To me, I think it still matters. I don't think I hope that never changes.
I mean, I personally don't think it ever will.
Yeah.
That part of the music business, I think, because it evokes emotion.
Yeah.
Like you said, like you got to have the track for sure.
Yeah.
But like when you find the writer that can really tell you a story and really put you into a place so that you can make music movies.
Music movies is great.
You know what I mean? Like
crazy.
that's just a
innocence
whole
of
nother
kids.
level. That is absolutely a whole nother
And it's
level.
like, even as we said, as we bring it into today's time, whether it's R&B or trap, don't matter.
Nope.
That story
Yeah.
of whoever it is walking down their street in their hood,
Yep.
Right.
and the play-by-play
Yeah.
of what that looks like.
It's so real. Like if you think about just like now, like modern times, if you take someone like Charlie Handsome, right, who's a producer and an instrumentalist. Charlie is like, when I met him, he had just done Fade for Kanye.
Yeah.
And I think works with Thug and Travis. Like I mean, like all the guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Is now Morgan Wallen's.
Right.
Him and Jay Cash and Post, and like to me it's like that just shows you how transferable story is. It's just what venue is it in, right? Like is it in country and you're talking about whiskey and the
Dogs
love
and
you never
truck.
had, or you
Yeah.
talking about so I always find like, to me, those examples are so extraordinary because it really is that way. And I think that gave me a lot of benefit. Like even before I could really articulate what it was like I could see where someone else could be that they weren't already as writers.
Yeah.
I think that if I had a superpower, I'd be like, you should be writing this.
Right.
Like you should be doing more pop, more global, more that, more this, even though you're writing R&B records or you're doing whatever.
So as a publisher, right? Because then, the other side of that is, what does a publisher do? Right? So, and we all know in any job, you can pinpoint and pick out the things someone doesn't do. Everybody always, everybody wants to put a spotlight on, you don't do this and you didn't do that and you just chased the charts.
Yeah.
Or you got blah, 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 blah. But like, as a publisher,
Yeah.
so when someone would sign to Sony and they would sign, and you would sign them, what were the things that you felt like, okay, as a publisher, this is what I need to do to get them to this next place?
Well, I think it would start with like introducing them to A&R people that maybe they didn't know, right? Like that was initially like the very basic things of like publishing, of like, oh, okay, here's this new writer, here's this whatever. Them having a hit is helpful because
Right.
they want to know them. But then you're like, let's put them in community. Like, what other writers and what other producers do they not know, right? Let's put them with their other halves or their other cohorts, because you're like, you may be writing with so-and-so all the time, but what would happen if you tried writing with this person?
Right.
And then you learn, even as a publisher, as a young executive, like writers come away from that with new things as well. So they develop also.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I put them together and there's this new chemistry and now they got a hit. It's also like they came away better at something.
Yeah.
And so then you just start taking them on a journey and then you try stuff. Like you would be like, it would be interesting to see what would happen if you put, this person and that person together. Sometimes it's trash and sometimes it isn't, but you can't be afraid. It's funny. A producer I ran into like recently at the ASCAP Awards was like, so excited to see me. I had worked with them actually in my Sony days, who was now managing, who dragged me over to their writer who had won an award and was like, remember the story I told you about the executive that told me don't be afraid to be whack? This is her. And I'm like, oh God, I said that. Like, it was like, kind of sounds like something I would say, but that is true. Like I used to be like, don't be afraid really to try things. Like I'm an efficient speaker. So I was like, don't be whack. Don't be afraid to be whack. But it was like, why not? Because you don't know what beauty is going to come of that collaboration. And so that to me, in addition to like shopping their songs and all that other stuff, is the ultimate best you could do for a writer, because you're introducing them to what could be the evolution of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's profound. You guys are both writers, like it's profound to learn things from people you just didn't even think was possible.
Well, he's 100%er guy. Yeah, I mean,
So he never, he's over there like, I don't do that collaboration shit.
No, it was so funny. This is funny. I don't know if you saw this.
Right this way
because
I hate you so
they
much.
had posted like they have this thing where they talk about records that you've done.
Oh yeah.
So they did that for me just randomly, right? I just randomly saw it, and I'm going down. I'm reading the comments, and they're like, "There's a lot of Tank records on here. I guess he ain't really 100%." I'm like, this is hilarious because how
internet
people
is so rude.
how people take things.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Yeah.
And because when he did his Drink Champs and he
Sure.
talked about, being 100% in writing records, he did not ever say though, I don't collaborate. He never
Got
said
it.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
I had to learn that, which is something I had to learn
Yeah.
to collaborate.
But that's, you do meet incredible talent,
Right.
like 100% Tank. And you're like, listen, even though you can do everything, imagine what somebody else might bring to your universe.
Yeah. No, it was so surprising when I met him years ago and I understood that, all the shit that he could do. And I'm like, damn, he really is cool with everybody just working though. And everybody, chiming in and this person having this idea, because I do know a couple other 100%ers who like, I don't want anyone in the room.
Yeah.
What, nigga? You just want to be in there by yourself?
Yeah.
That's it.
You want to hang out with you?
I need the room.
The first time I've had a session like that, I was confused. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Where I was like, as an A&R, and then they didn't want the producer there either. And I was like, but the producers are good. Okay. And then I had to go like call and get another studio room and be like, they need to be in there by themselves.
Some people just take themselves too serious.
And gonna take the beat over there. And the producers are like, I'm like, well, you could just work on more beats. Like, I don't know what to, at this point, I don't know what to, it's so awkward.
To me, it's like everyone has their process.
Super
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Everyone
Super
has
fair.
their I mean, if they're getting results,
Super
then
fair.
I will allow it.
Let them do their thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Super
But
fair.
at the same time, I'm of the mind of, if we're all really good
Yeah.
and we all sit in here,
Our chances are better.
oh
Our
man,
chances are better. Yeah.
we ain't none gonna get left on the floor.
It's facts.
Cause somebody gonna know. Don't drop
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
Remember
yeah,
this?
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah. We've had so many of those moments.
Come on, man.
It's
Yeah.
really true. And it isn't, best ideas should win. And that is not typical of the music industry, I'm afraid to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the truth. I think that is how those that have been successful, I feel, think that way. Like, I think they think about what's the best idea, or at least the goal of the best ideas,
Yeah.
and not being like, well, I said so
Yeah.
I said that.
so the right there made the whole song. You're just like, okay, I mean, sure, but
That can't change the melody.
yeah, exactly.
It can change the melody.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been in a room with guys who are really good with thes and ands.
I'm not even mad. Listen, don't forget, we went through the whole doo-doo era. Like, where everything, like, right here, we're just going to whistle or we're going to da-da-da for, 16. So, and it worked, and there were smashes.
Yeah.
So, I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying.
The ear has a mind of its own.
It does.
ear
That's a great thing to say.
But because it does. It's like, you know, it's a subjective business.
It is.
You know what I mean? And you
Super.
just don't know what the general public is really going to take to.
You really don't.
You don't know.
We think we know.
We have
We have
gone
ideas.
through
We have
the
ideas.
entire era of data-driven everything, only to end up back where they're like, people gonna tell us what they like,
Right. Because that's the data.
and you just gotta go with your your gut. And I'm like, they used to look at us like we had 10 heads when we said gut when the data era started. It was like, gut.
You run allowed a gut.
We have all this data.
We haven't used guts in so long.
Yeah, you're like, I can tell you're old school.
Who brought
You're
this
like,
gut in?
and I'm like, yes. It's like even people that are, A&R research, whatever they research cats or whatever, they still have to pick from the plethora of things
That are researching.
and say, I think it's these two. They don't just throw everything at a wall. Now, I don't know if nobody listens to them, but it is that. It's always that.
Yeah, I think it's changed the process of elimination.
Yeah, fair.
By, because you can go back to what the numbers said.
Right.
Right? So it's less, maybe it's less risk taking.
I think
I
it's
guess
less
because-
accountability because
And that,
All
yes.
of that.
Yes.
All
yeah.
of that.
because when you have a hit record, like as an artist, as an A&R person, executive, you the first one you have is like, oh, it does feel different. Like even as it's starting, it's not because it's a hit and you're like, oh, this feels great. You're literally like, oh, this isn't as hard as these other ones I did. Like this is moving different.
Yeah.
This is catching different. Like this is something else is happening.
Yeah. The reaction.
The reaction is so profoundly different that you're like, oh,
Which
this is great.
prompts people to even stay with a record that although it's taking longer, or although it's taking a few more resources, it's like, I hear you,
Yeah.
but I'm watching what's happening on the ground as it's starting to build.
Yes.
Like if we just stay with it,
Yeah.
it's going to be something.
You
And
know,
you
the
can't eliminate that.
The king of that for me was Jimmy Iovine. When Jimmy believed something, there was no talking him out of it.
Yeah.
And I respected it so much because I was that way. I mean, you're passionate. He was a producer first. So if you feel like you know something, I mean, he was the boss. So he had, he got more grace than the rest of us.
Way
But,
more, yeah.
but Lady Gaga took a lot longer than people even think. And I remember week after week, people being like, I don't know, radio. And she'd have #1 records in rando countries. But, in the U.S., it would be, I don't know, it's dance artists. Da, 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 da. And he would be like, I don't care.
Yeah. He believed.
Something is happening. And it's happening. And it would just be like, next thing you know, it's just
Keeps growing.
been one of the biggest artists ever.
So you jumped.
I did.
No,
I jumped.
because we gonna get there. We gonna get to Interscope.
We gonna be here all day.
No.
Talk about
No.
from music movies.
But because I want to go to, because it's something that he brought up earlier. You guys' connection,
Oh yeah.
because that's before Interscope.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want to tap into that because the other part too with they always like, well, the discovery on R&B Money.
Yes.
Right? When we have artists, we have executives, writers, everything.
Yeah.
But I always want to highlight the connective fiber. And I know, you know what I mean? Like I know how we connect.
Yeah.
But I think it starts with Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Even
Yeah.
before it starts.
No,
goes
you're
to
right.
Me.
Yeah, you're right. I think so. So, I was sick of working. So I've always been an outrapreneur or whatever. I was always working in and out of companies. Like the corporate structure, I think when I started to feel like it didn't make sense in terms of business, maybe that lack of control, I would be like, this isn't, this isn't, we're going to go through an era. And I was usually right that things were changing in a way that I wasn't excited about. So at Sony, it was like that. I was just like, I really love writer producers. There were so many that were asking me to manage them. Back then, you were like, no, I have a job. Nowadays, everybody's doing everything.
both,
God
yeah.
bless them. Take all the money. But I was always like, it was a choice. It wasn't like a do it at the same time. And Barry Hankerson and, Jomo Hankerson, who I adore, was like, yo, we're doing this publishing thing with EMI, like you could come like help us do that. So I was like, okay, if I do that and manage producers, I'm like, all right, I'm out. So I quit. I quit. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go do. And then, listen, my deal was up. Our executives got deals, and my deal was up, and they hadn't spoken to me in time, in my humble opinion, because I was like, well, they ain't come, so I better figure it out anyway. Then they want to sit down and be like, so what are we gonna do for the next deal? And I was like, ooh,
I'm out.
I kind of got stuff going on already,
yeah.
because I'm moving. I'm still the girl that's like, there's no stopping.
The baby's on the go.
Baby's on the go. So I was consulting for Blackground, which was it was Aaliyah. Rest in peace, Static Major. This guy over here, Eric Seats. Like, oh my gosh, like the talent is just insane. Rap and Nissan. It was like everyone that made your favorite hits, right? Really, truly, especially R&B, honestly. And I was somehow supposed to run the publishing company, which I say that because it was a small company. And everyone had to do everything. So I think Jomo, when I first started, because this is back in New York now, Jomo was like in Australia working on Aaliyah's album. And so I'm there for at least a month, like, hey, is somebody coming in to work? Yeah, we gonna be there next week. Child, next week was like months. I was like, okay, listen.
Yeah.
And you start picking up and you're, doing the things or trying to organize this craziness and brokering the deal with EMI, which was cool, and dealing with all them. And then Los Angeles at Jomo's hotel, he's like, we signed this guy, he's going to be this and that. He's a church kid, but we gonna church kid, but we gonna get him out of that.
We're gonna dirty him up.
I swear, I'm not lying. Sorry, Jomo, I love you. And
I was already on my way.
Yeah, I had no idea. Me, I'm believing it. Like, oh no, don't hurt the church guy.
I was just gonna drive him around the hood.
Yeah, I was like, don't.
I had already been out with Genuine.
Don't dirty the church guy.
I was already a mess.
Yes, and he comes in, and this is Tank. Tank's a writer and a producer and a singer and this and that. And I was like, wow, like he was so the same, honestly. And just like really pen and voice was very impressive. Like, and still even then was reminiscent of, old school soul. Like even then it wasn't like, it was unique in that way.
He didn't come in as a young punk.
No.
Young punk.
I was like, were you ever a young punk? But you were green in the ways of like, I remember being worried about you. Is that weird?
No.
Because he was worried about
My
him.
mama was too.
I remember being like,
What are you doing out there, Darrell? Huh?
I was like, I don't know. He seems so nice and oh boy. And listen, background was different. It was different.
It was different.
Yeah, Barry, managing the Kelly guy yeah, it was a different life. So I was definitely like,
It was a hood label. It was a street
there you go.
hood
It was
label.
full of
Like
R&B singers.
full of R&B singers, and all of our management and administration was all from the streets.
That is
All of them.
true.
Like I literally would get picked up in the morning
Oh gosh.
and be driven around LA from Inglewood to Compton to this my little nigga Tank.
Oh, I know who that is.
You heard? Yeah.
I know who that one was.
This my little nigga Tank.
Oh,
Y'all keep
R.I.P.
an
to
eye
him
out for
too.
him. Y'all keep an eye out for him.
Yeah.
Like everybody. Then Fats,
Yep.
C. Ray,
Yep.
nigga with us. And I was like,
I knew when
So
everybody
when do I
had.
sing?
I knew when all
I
the
had to make sure you're
executives.
good first.
yeah, but I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Like I'm from the East Coast. You know what I'm saying?
No
Like
idea.
I know my few guys, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, but we're driving from sun up to sundown and introducing me to people on different blocks who run all
Right.
these different blocks and do all these different things. And I'm like,
What does this have to do with
what does this
music?
have to do with R&B music? Are any of these guys producers or songwriters?
No, they producing all right.
I mean, you have to know. I knew. I knew when. Oh my God, this is so funny. I can't believe. I knew when all the executives had nicknames that
Yeah.
something was different.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one had like a real
Yeah.
government name,
Right.
And that was different.
Different.
I would be like, "Oh, who is this one?" and G such and such, and Hug it such
G
and such.
such
Yeah,
and such.
And I was like, "Huh."
I had seen things I had never seen before.
I had seen things I want to unsee.
Yeah. Things I can talk about. I remember going to New York and they're like, this is Von Zip. He's gonna be looking out for you while you're in New
Yeah,
York. And
Von Zip.
I'm like, okay.
I liked Von.
I would just roll around with Von Zip around New York. And he would take me to different garages where he housed all his cars. He had cars in damn near every garage in Manhattan.
He was nice.
Really nice upscale cars.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take you to see my other one. And then something I had never seen before in my life. We go to a club and we get into this club and the people in the club are just not treating Von the way
No.
he felt like he needed to be treated. So he said, all right, let's go. We out. Show these motherfuckers. We go to the car, Cadillac. He hits the trunk. There's 2 coolers. We're in the parking lot of the club. There's champagne and there's ice. Coolers.
Okay.
He turns the music on blast, starts inviting everybody who's waiting in line to get into the
Oh,
club
he's a G.
to come into the parking lot
Yeah.
and party and drink with us.
So, club tailgate.
club
I'm trying to follow this whole thing.
tailgate. And we out there in the parking lot
Which was possible back then.
having a time.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's just, he's hosting. He's Von Zip.
I mean, he's Von Zip.
I'm just like,
It was Von
full
Zip.
green,
Huggy Bear. Flint. Like it
brown
was
sugar,
brown sugar. I'm dead ass.
Jimmy Henchman.
Not
like
a
the whole,
name. You did not. No one had.
I'm
had
just
a
sitting there
government
like,
name.
happy to be here.
That part.
I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, I kind of did and didn't, right? It was like, I knew enough to not want to be driving around, but I didn't know too much. So I would just go do my
didn't.
job.
You were smarter than me. I was like, I'll go.
And that's why you were worried about him. It's just listen. This whole thing,
you know what? That
came
makes
all the
sense.
way
We are
back.
going. I want to go.
I was
That's
like,
why this-
I don't. Okay, we're gonna take care of him. He's gonna be all
so
right.
how long were you at Blackground?
So I consulted for Blackground for 2 years.
Okay.
Sadly, when baby girl passed away, which was a whole other thing, but I was always like, I was consulting with them. I was managing producers. I was, they brought me, I was managing, God, so many people. Like it was just random. It was just always like I was getting hired to help work on projects, and that was like I enjoyed it for a long time. And then I think I worked with like, who all? Focus. We did a deal with Dr. Dre. I was working with, at the time, it was like the #1 DJ in the country, which was Felly Fel. I was working with, I mean, he was, God, he was everything back then. I was working with, people, they knew me. No, I was working with, ISIS. So there was this group called ISIS back in the day that had a song called Single for the Rest of Your Life.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. I love that song to this day. And there was a guy named Quadri Alameen who was managing Boys to Men, who had ISIS and was like, he was like, I don't have time for this new group, basically. Can you come in and work with them? I did. Lamaya, Megan's sister, Lamaya, was in the group, we're cool to this day. It's when I met Megan Good. Like, it's so crazy how everyone's still here.
Yeah.
It's just bigger and better, I think. So, like, it was fun. Like, that was a fun time, but I moved around so much. I felt like that was sort of how the inner scope of it all started to happen, because they were looking for someone apparently that could kind of self-manage and move. Like, I didn't know that at the time, but it was like being called in for a meeting. And Jimmy was someone who I, as an executive, was on my list of people, right? It was like Suzanne DePass. It was, because she, to me, is the first A&R ever. She signed the Jackson 5. So, like, she's the best person ever in the business ever. And Jimmy, for all the reasons. He was also cool. He was from Brooklyn. Like, he didn't dress like other executives. He wore a hat. I was like, oh my God, the guy wears jeans and sneakers. Like, what's not to love about him,
Yeah.
And so when I got the phone call to take the meeting, and they were like, hey, I think we want you to do A&R. And I was like, that could be cool. But going inside a company, here's me again, just sounded like,
At this point, you haven't done A&R.
No, you're doing it, but you're not doing
right.
it.
I'm saying for a company.
You're helping. Yeah, exactly. You're helping make records, but again, you're like, I'm not an A&R. Right. So, then they said the magic thing, which is like, well, just come meet with Jimmy. I was like, Jimmy Iovine? You want me to meet with Jimmy Iovine?
Yeah.
Like, sure. Of course, I'll meet with Jimmy Iovine. I mean, if you insist.
That's who you want to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, sure. And then you meet Jimmy. And there's just no not doing.
Yeah.
Like, when you meet Jimmy, especially then, there's just no not wanting to work with him. Like, he's just too special. And I'm glad that he ended up doing the documentary when he did, because it's always so hard to describe, for people that didn't experience his vision, his brilliance, his charisma, and all those things. So you can now just be like, go see the movie, right? Because that's literally how it was every day. It was chaotic. I mean, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, it was not like it was chaotic. But he had a view and a point of view and a vision and an ability to spot talent that, like, it was just. I learned so much just working there, because you got to see even the way he thought about music was different. Like, he was the first people that was like, what did he just say? Sell the t-shirt and give the CD away for free. Right. Which was like this idea that people weren't valuing music the same way. And so if you sold the experience of music, right, if you put it in a venue or a product or a thing, that because people loved music. It wasn't that. It was that this idea of like buying a CD was getting old and antiquated. He knew that way early. Like, that's why the headphones became a thing.
Yeah.
That's why the Pussycat Dolls were a brand. Like, it was a brand deal. It was like, we're going to own this brand and we're going to build it and we're going to make a record and we're going to make t-shirts and a club and a thing and a that and a this. And we're going to sell all those things. And that was what opened my mind up to it. He was the same guy that took 50 Cent and was like, oh, you want to make a movie? I'm going to put you in front of all these directors. You want to, Eminem, let's go make 8 Mile. Like, he was thinking about these things in ways that I hadn't experienced, but made so much sense to me. And so that was like, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. I want music to stay valuable and not just keep getting compressed into this little space of like, you make a record, put it out, people listen, and you go.
Yeah. No, when I look at Jimmy, I see Berry Gordy. Because, it was all the ways to magnify the superstar, which is so interesting that more labels didn't do that.
Right.
You funny you say that. He used to say that. He used to say, like, my Jimmy impression is not as good as everyone else's, but he used to be like, I don't know. I don't know why they don't copy me. Like it's so obvious. Like, it's not like it's a hidden thing. Like, I don't know why they don't do it. But
he operated from a very independent mindset.
Always.
A very independent mindset. Because, like I said, obviously Berry Gordy, but then that goes into Master P. Then that goes into Birdman.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And them making, baller blocking and the movies that they made in New Orleans, and you know what I'm saying, and the different things that they were doing, that they were putting their artists on a grander scale, or you know what I mean. So
a lot of people don't know even Master P.
Suge doing Murder Was the Case, and
right,
like and Jimmy to me, just even though because I guess for some reason, I guess they never considered Interscope an independent label because it was just it was so massive.
Yes.
And it had other independent labels signed to it.
Yes.
But I think he was always moving. Like I said, it's just my opinion of it. I think he was always moving with this very independent mindset that, most majors just don't do it. Like, Berry Gordy made The Wiz.
Yeah, it was like, how do we build businesses?
Yep.
How do we build businesses? And how do we do it off, like, what is special about you that, with the story that's infamous now about the headphones, which was like, I want to make sneakers. I want sneakers to make headphones, like, let's build that for you, and made billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Like those are the things that I don't think everyone either had the ability to do, because maybe there's just some people that are incredible music people. Like, they are music, and that's what they're great at, and that's what they do. Jimmy was like a vision, and how do I help people make money and business off of talent, off of art? And I think he was very, at least for me, I couldn't unsee it. Once you see it, for me, you couldn't unsee it. So like, the idea of working for a label after that is like, nobody's doing this.
Yeah.
Like, this is something you go take out in the world.
And are you at Geffen at the time too?
So here's the crazy part. I technically wasn't really at Geffen. So I got hired at Interscope. And what happened was...
Because you were in my Geffen meeting.
I know. Exactly. So what happens is like, Jimmy's Interscope was always Jimmy's Interscope. So even when Geffen became a part of it, when A&M was a part of it, it was all one nation under Jimmy Iovine. And so I was hired at Interscope.
Okay.
What happened was a gentleman by the name of Ron Fair,
Tearaway pants
and hats, who was a producer and a songwriter and very successful prior to his Interscope life. He was Christina Aguilera,
one of the guys.
Yeah, the guy.
No, he's a guy.
Yeah.
And Jimmy had brought him over to do pop stuff. And a woman by the name of Michelle Thomas, who I adore to this day, was his GM. And she had been at Interscope for years. And this is what I loved about Interscope. Black woman, She was a marketing person. She oversaw Dr. Dre, and she oversaw Ashley Simpson. And like in the music business at that time, like for people watching now that are newer, they're gonna be like, back then, black folks did not get the opportunities to work in pop music, to work in broader music. Like it just wasn't. It was just an automatic sort
black
of
people
thought.
worked on black people.
That's how it was. We were the specialists, and that was amazing. But like, if you loved other type of music, it was really hard. Jimmy was agnostic to all of that, and that's what made it. He was agnostic to that, and he was agnostic to the fact of like male, female. So for me, it was the best place for me to be because it was like, you just have to compete. I don't care, like, woman, man, black, white, and I don't give a damn. Like, put points on the board or nah.
Yeah.
And that, for me, I was like, shoot, you ain't said
that's where I'm supposed to
nothing.
be.
I compete,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're not going to outwork me. So that, for me, was where my career really flourished because I could work on any project. If I brought a hit, Pussycat Dolls, whatever, it didn't matter. And so Michelle, the same thing. It was like she's working with Dr. Dre and Ashley Simpson, right? Like it wasn't a thing. And so that was big. So Michelle had, there was a need for, Ron Fair had already done Moulin Rouge, the song for the movie, and like had made all this money for the company already. So he was a darling in Jimmy's eyes. And he has signed Black Eyed Peas, or Black Eyed Peas were signed, but they were they
put Fergie in the group. And
so this is pre-Fergie.
What was she was from
Wild Orchid.
Wild Orchid, which Ron Fair
produced at RCA. Exactly.
And also he had Tyrese over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, he had the whole thing. Yeah, the RCA
so
thing.
So he was like, we should put Fergie in the group, right? And then like it was nuts. So he had signed this woman named Keisha Cole. And Keisha Cole was from the Bay. And she's black. What a shock. And at that time, the other way was also difficult. I think they would say, I don't know if he'd say it now, but back then, I think there was hesitation around Ron being able to produce this woman who was a black girl from East Oakland, with her subject matter, etc. Even though the classic, white producer, black singer story is whatever. There was just a weird, they just didn't buy in. And so Michelle was like, hey, Ron, Erica Grayson, blah, blah, blah. And so I started working with Ron. And it's funny, is like, I didn't bring anything new to the dynamic other than maybe a level of credibility internally at the company where it was like, oh, okay, well, they got a black girl working with a black girl and Ron, right? It was just like so strange how these things play out. But at the same time, then I got to work on Pussycat Dolls. I got to work on Black Eyed Peas. So it just, my whole world opened up. Yeah. So the Geffen thing happened because Ron and our little universe became so big within the Interscope thing. I mean, it's Pussycat Dolls, Black Eyed Peas, Keisha Cole. We would start the first 15 minutes of the Jimmy meetings on Friday and then be like, okay, we're done selling 50 million records. Okay, bye. Right? So it just, you couldn't deny, and it was 5 of us that worked on Ron's team. It was a team of 5. So Ron's ascension became, okay, we're going to give him Geffen Records. That's how I kind of became Geffen, but it didn't happen all the way because I was still working for Jimmy. So I was like, I was in a Geffen. I don't know, I was in this weird dynamic where I worked directly for Ron Fair and directly for Jimmy at the same time.
Because you're R&B.
Because I'm R&B.
Yeah, no, I mean, ultimately that was it, when I look at it. It's like, that's why it made sense, because Jimmy's not an R&B guy.
Fair.
He'll say that. You know what I mean? And Ron really made his bones in pop.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, Erica Grayson. Right. It just makes sense because now they were diving into that space, especially with an artist like Keisha.
Yeah.
Where now we're here.
Connected.
Because there's this thing that floats around the internet.
God.
And it is me as a video vixen.
Yes.
You got to do what you got to do.
Not really. I didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do it. I didn't have to do it. I was already rich at this point, Tank. I might have been one of the richest video vixens of all time.
You were looking for something different.
I was not.
Yeah, because he had already had a big deal.
Right? I had already had a deal. I had already had hit records.
Yeah.
I had already worked on NSYNC.
Yes.
And I was a video vixen.
This is facts.
I was doing some very
I don't
friend shit.
NSYNC, all that money, you wasn't in no video.
Facts.
You wasn't the interest.
It was facts.
I wasn't. I was a love interest.
You was the love interest, boy.
Yo, it's the funniest. It's the funniest forever thing because, first of all, Keisha, right? Like, you know Keisha, and it's Keisha back then. Like, it's just not a lot of saying no to Keisha. Like, even when we used to work, I would, Manny Haley would call me and be like, Keisha wants to get in the studio. I'd be like, I'd go to the studio. I would sit there 2 hours sometimes, 3 hours sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes she'd come. Sometimes I'd be like, hey, let me know if she's going to come. I'll be back. You know, like, that's how Keisha lived on Keisha's terms, which I love.
Since the beginning.
The beginning.
Yes.
And so when she's like, I need, this is what I need. I need this. It's not giving me this. And also she wanted to be comfortable. Yeah. Her friend Jay, right? Jay and I are also cool. And I'm like, come on, Jay, it'll be fun. You know what I'm saying? You cute, the girls love you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're giving them a massage. Full sale.
Full on.
But the crazy thing, Tank, is no one told me. No one told me that this whole sale was happening though. Cause it's like I got like multiple friends in this sale.
In the
Keisha's my sister, which is already kind of like, that's a weird part.
Yeah, because she's not your love interest.
No, full sister in real life, right? Yeah. And then you got Manny doing his selling.
Come on, fast
Manny
talking,
too. Man. Come on, Jay, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got Erica.
Yep.
But then they introduced me to Ron.
Yep. Oh, forget it.
And now Ron is like, well, he should be signed here too.
He should be here. Yeah, all of it.
So now it's literally like this domino effect happening that I know nothing about.
Oh my God.
And me just being me and my personality, they send me to the label after, and I meet Michelle.
Yes.
And she's like, can you sing for me? And I'm like, I'm like, I do math really well. So I'm like, this is adding up to something completely different.
Yeah.
But I'm a nigga. And we go for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it, put something on. Right? So now I'm singing. And I'm like, but I'm thinking the whole time in my head, like, how the fuck is any of this happening? Because it's not supposed to be happening. Because at this point, I think I got the independent label. I'm E40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm in the Bay. I'm cracking.
Yeah.
We got Bailey. I got shit going on.
You got vehicles wrapped.
Oh my God, Bailey.
I got some shit going on, right? You know what I mean? And I'm going to drive my own truck to the video shit, right? I'm doing all the shit. So we go through that whole thing.
Which whole thing? At the label?
Yeah, we go through the first time.
Yes.
The first time.
Yes.
Right? Because what I will say is this. Erica has always advocated, I will use that word, for me to be an artist. Always. Always. And I don't think she fully understood my train of thought of how I wanted to go about it and how I thought I should go about it, which everybody, just a lot of people who don't understand how I go about it, and that's fine. But you were somebody from the beginning, for me, as an adult in LA, that was just like, no, you should be an artist and you should sing and all the things. And I also even feel like that was part of your thinking with me doing the video. It's like, oh, this leads to this and this. Because you also was like, you know what, Jay? You should sing on this Jibs record I have. Because he had the big record chain, Hang Low. I ended up doing a record on this project with him and Polo and singing on the album. And you were putting plays together.
Yes.
You were absolutely putting plays together. And I just, since you're here, I want to tell you I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it wasn't my path and something that I was focused on in that way, but I always appreciated that. I always appreciated that, and just you having the vision of where you saw me.
Yeah, I think it's funny because like there's so much in this business where it's people are like, they're not your friends, you're associates, and you're this, and you're always trying to find new words to like how to categorize people. But like, I at least think that the people I started with that I liked a lot are my friends, like, and so you are also just my talented friend. So like for me, it was also like you were great to work with. You were always like amenable. Obviously, you did the whole video with the thing,
I did. I never got paid.
The white T-shirt. Did you get?
I never got paid. I never got paid.
He was rich.
Who's this guy?
Fuck that. Rich people get, hey, that's how you stay rich, right? You get paid.
He was like, "What do you mean? You had all the money,
right?
What you mean, man?
You didn't.
But you know what? I take that back. You guys were trying to pay me, but the payment was in a record deal that I didn't want to do.
Yeah, that. Listen,
They try to give you another couple $1 million,
I
but you didn't want it.
You was
You
like,
didn't
I'm
want it.
already carried the 2. Doesn't work.
Yeah, which is fine. It's fine.
I mean, listen.
But the wild thing is,
Yeah.
after that, I go back to the Bay, and I get this whole thing going. Right?
Oh, you did.
I get this whole thing going. I do this record accidentally. Shout out to my brother Ron who convinced me to do the record. But we do this record, and it goes.
I mean, goes.
And then I get another phone call.
Yeah. From another friend.
Right? No, from you.
Oh, from me, yeah.
From
okay.
you, and you like, Jay, you said you didn't want to do it.
Now here
now
you
you're
are
Now
doing
you're
it.
doing it, nigga.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And I don't, obviously you have your recollection
Yeah.
of it, but from my recollection of it and how I saw it was, so at the time, it was my 2 really good friends who were trying to sign me.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was other labels as well, but you 2 were the only ones that I was even thinking about, because my whole thing too, and Tanka will attest to this with me, is that I like to do business with my friends.
Yeah.
I am not a do business with random people person.
Yeah,
I just don't, because I want to be held accountable, and I want to be able to hold you accountable by our friendship too,
Yeah.
and say, hey man, this ain't cool.
We cool. This fucked up.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know how it played out.
I'm not sure.
So
I just know Larry Jackson got the deal and I didn't.
So a big reason why was because I didn't have the chance. Larry didn't give me the chance to see the top of the year without the deal being presented to me.
Got it.
The numbers,
I
this,
get
that.
it.
It was like my deal was done over Christmas.
Yeah.
My
Which
deal
is-
was literally
yeah.
done over Christmas. And I remember you and I
Brilliant.
having a conversation. You called, I never forget this. You called me on January 4th, which when the labels open back up.
Right.
And you're like, Jay, we ready. I got the building, whatever this,
You were like,
whatever the dollar is. And I was like, I'm actually looking at my check.
Oh,
I was like, Erica,
Larry Jackson.
I was like, I'm looking at my check right now. I'm not about to get his check back.
Yeah, I'm keeping this one.
This is a big ass check.
I'm keeping
that's
this one,
why.
baby.
That's why Larry's rich. Shout out to Larry Jackson.
And I remember the one thing you said to me. You said, you better tell Larry not to fuck it up.
That definitely sounds like me.
And the thing about it is that Larry didn't fuck it up.
No way.
Larry did not fuck it up. We were just in a wild situation over there
Yeah.
that, with things beyond us.
Yeah.
And but that's how that played out. That's
listen,
that's literally how that played out.
Larry and I competed a lot too.
Yeah.
That
so
nigga worked through Christmas.
Through Christmas.
I
Getting this.
understand. Like
Yeah.
that's listen.
And
That's
we know
why
lawyers
he's
don't
where
work
he's at.
through Christmas. They don't work from December 14th to January 4th. The music
Right.
business is shut down.
I mean,
Shit, they started Thanksgiving now.
you could
Right.
record. You ain't lying. They go home. I'd be like,
Home.
wait, what?
They take holiday.
When you on the outside,
Holiday,
you like,
yeah.
hello.
Yeah. Nah,
need a
you better
check.
get your check
No,
before Thanksgiving.
Larry. Listen, first of all, I mean, he's from the Bay, so like there was you don't feel upset when it's your friend.
Yeah.
Also, like you're like, Larry's amazing, you're amazing, and like what you gonna go away mad for?
yeah.
At least me. I mean, some people, like, I don't know, they mad. But,
Yeah, you know, some people take offense to whatever
Yeah.
they want to take offense to.
But I was just like, what I said.
Yeah.
Just y'all better win. But you won.
It all worked out.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
You was
It
already
always work
rich
out.
anyway, so.
Keep a little money on him.
Had a couple dollars on me.
Keep a couple dollars on him.
So I was like, well, let me get some.
Hey, I used to always ask him, Jay, you got some money on? He'd be like this. My fault. I need 1,000.
I need 1,000.
He'd be in the strip club like, Jay, you got some. I
Don't
must
say where we were, bro.
Sorry.
I was like,
I must have asked him at least 5 times. And he gave me the face 5 times. And on that 5th time, I said, I'm going to stop asking you. I need $2,000.
like,
No, Tank is definitely not the I need $20 to grab a slice of pizza guy.
No.
No.
he borrows big.
Yeah. I need
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well.
I like it.
And he's good for it.
If I'm
He's
going to
good
get
for
it, I need to. Because you know who started me off that way? Flint started me off that way.
He had a lot of money. He had a lot of money.
He's like, you need some cash, little nigga? I was like, yeah, I do.
Always say yes.
Oh, and he would give me like
He
2,000-3,000
just started tearing it
at a
off.
time.
He started tearing it
nigga, he go in some shoebox that he had in the corner. I'm like this. I'm going to get outfits.
I'm thinking outfits.
I'm thinking outfits, shoes, pants,
Right.
shirt, right? And that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
So when I hang out, I mean, Jay's not. Okay, so when I hang out with certain guys,
I'm not.
I know the amount to go for.
I'm happy
Some
to
niggas I can
know.
only ask for $20.
I'm about
Other
to
niggas,
say,
I know. Hey man, let me get a couple grand.
now everyone's gonna be like, yo, Jay.
Nah, the art of no, I learned it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Jay, let me hold two.
You gonna get everybody.
Yeah.
You get everybody.
You let a nigga borrow to that can pay back to.
There it
They
is.
don't know that you from the Bay.
They know. Yes, they do.
They be like,
Yes, they do.
They'd be like,
Yes, they do.
Jay from the Bay.
man. Yeah, very much so.
It's just the answer to the question.
I
Jay
used to
from the
hide
Bay.
behind Jay too. Did you spend that money? No, Jay gave me money.
You know what? Now we're getting into territory.
You know, back to Eric
We
Grayson.
cut this part back out. We
man.
cut this back out. We're not trying to
is
break
great.
up homes.
Oh, this is great.
The journey for you is like so interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, starting in the beginning where you say you were kind of developing this thing that you just ended up being anyway,
Yeah.
right? And so as you reflect on your journey in the business, like what is the part that you've played so many parts? What is the part that you play? And I'm not just say played, but play that like to you is like this is where I really love to live. You know what I mean? Whether it be finding the writer or finding the artist or cultivating the album or or A&R in the album. You know, like what part of it like for you is like where you like get the smile and you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to kill this because this is what this is where I like to get my hands dirty.
It's funny because when I started to look at, there was pre-pandemic generalists and multi-hyphenates and all that was like not a thing. You were just like, girl, what are you doing? Like you doing this, you doing that, you doing this. I don't understand. Like so much stuff. It was like post it now. I think everybody kind of figured out like it's okay to lean into your talents or your purpose or your whatever what you want to do. But
The pivot.
yeah, the pivot, right? It became a thing where I was like, hey, when I was doing that, y'all was like, what are you doing? Right?
Right.
So I think where I've learned that I love is helping people fill in the wide open spaces. So whether that is a way musically or an extension of a business that they don't see, because learned that from Jimmy,
Yeah.
or creating something that hasn't existed or seeing a way through that's a challenge that could help something be bigger. That's the thing that gets me. Like that, the challenging things is like, happily and also sometimes to my dismay is the thing I love the most. And I say to my dismay because it's like the hard things, right? Like it's like, oh, that's super hard to do.
Right. You can't.
I'm gonna go do
Yeah,
that.
you can't always find the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah. And I love to find the pieces to the puzzle. I love, even now, to talk to like young artists, young managers, like they're so stuck and you're like, oh, if you do this, did you ever think about that? And they just come away like, oh, you unlock something for them.
Yeah.
You know, or you talk to a business person. You know, I have a client, Malcolm Lee, who's a director, who, you know, it's like he loves music.
He's definitely a director. Yeah, you just oh yeah, Malcolm Lee. He's just a director.
I mean, he's an amazing director.
Yeah, he's Malcolm Lee. Yeah,
and he loves music, always has. And when I go back and look at his films and First Best Man and you just see how music plays a role in all of it.
Yeah,
and you're like, how do I get more involved in music? How do I be more in the music business? And I'm like. And I remember staying him off for like years, being like, you don't want to be in the music business. Like, make movies, buddy. Like, you don't want to do that. But then when he called me during the pandemic and was like, I'm still like, I was like, publishing. That's what you should do. You should do a publishing company. I'll help you do that. I'll help you figure that out. You're the director. Everything stops and ends with you, including the music choices, we should build a publishing company.
yeah.
So it's like those kind of things get me excited. And then going to every, publisher and lawyers that were like, but director with a publishing deal? Like,
he's got
yeah,
plug and play.
Yeah.
Right. You need music for the movie.
You would be
plug and play
shocked
is
how many
crazy.
people
Didn't get it.
And I remembered like talking mad, like, no, I'm telling you, where some people in his life were confused because it just wasn't common. And I'm like, they don't know. They're not in the music business. I'm telling you, you know. And finally, publishers were like, oh, yeah, like that, well, how would that work? And this and kind of putting it together and being like, getting the deal. And it happened, and now building the publishing company. So now he's got, a publishing entity. So that stuff's fun to me. Like, that's exciting of like, that doesn't exist, or that's hard, or that's a challenge, or that's my favorite part. Like, and it just doesn't, it's whatever it's needed, right? It's like, I feel like I've always been a facilitator, that I speak, creative, but I also kind of have an organized mind and a real mean execution gun, right? And so if you can complement any dynamic you're in by activating any of those things. And if you don't make it about you, which I think I never have. That's why I was so nervous to do this. Then you can really be a part of some cool things. Yeah. You could, coyly be like, oh yeah, the first project I was ever like part of was like Lauryn Hill, or like, yeah, I worked on Mary J. Blige's Breakthrough album, or like I worked with Black Eyed Peas, or like I music supervised The Best Man, I produced and directed. Like after a while, your list just goes up, and people are like,
list. I like your list.
My friends are always like, damn girl, like, but in your mind at the time, it's just the thing that you're like, I think I could do that.
But I've never seen you, like, promote you.
No,
I haven't.
I've never seen you do that.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even in having this conversation with you, it's like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you do so much. And I think this is why this conversation is needed. You know what I mean? Because you're an inspiration to somebody.
I feel super honored because honestly, when I ran into Jay and Jay's like, you should come on the podcast. I was like the podcast is for like people like that do stuff.
For like
Jay.
people.
I literally was like, Jay, like that's like, my friends have been on the pod. Like I used to manage Rico Love, who I adore. And I'm like, Rico's been on the podcast. Like Teron Thomas, who I was like got the first deal at Interscope.
But
He's
listen
on
to
the
what
podcast.
you're saying, though. As you say these people, listen to your
fair.
connection. Listen to the fibers, like
fair,
like
fair.
us.
Yeah, fair.
Like you when you go out and you hear a record like Love.
Yes.
To this day.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, because even for me,
I bet.
I didn't write that song.
Yeah.
But I remember the little apartment that she played me the song at. And that dog that kept barking. That little dog. And she's like, Jay, I know you don't like the dog, but he's not going to mess
you
with
don't like the dog.
He's like, I know that. I was like, can you just play the song? Because I got to get out of this apartment with this dog. He's just barking at me. so I hear it different
Yeah.
than the audience.
Yeah.
Right? And people that hear these things different than the audience
Yeah.
should be on this show to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever part you played
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is an album that you were a part of
Yeah.
helping get to wherever it got. And now this song lives forever.
No,
Classic.
it's like when I see the
Classic.
Little
things
kids
on
at
Zuckerberg's
assemblies?
internet, I'm like,
Classic.
wow.
Who would have thought?
Wow.
Now, I knew it was a hit record.
Yeah.
I did not know that little kids at an assembly
would be singing
in the
it.
second grade
Yeah.
in 2024 would be
No.
singing this record. I remember calling Keisha. I was mad that what's the song that I was in the video? I was in the first two. With, I changed my mind.
Changed My Mind, yeah.
I was mad that was the first single. I was
And Not
mad.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was mad. And it's not my album, not my artist, but I'm mad. I'm like, Keisha, nah, this ain't it, Keish. What is y'all doing? What are they doing over there? Because for me, I was so attached to that
The song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I got the.
With no pun intended.
That's why I got New York.
Yeah, I was so in love
That was a
Yeah.
bucket
with
list.
that song. You know what I mean? That I
Yeah.
was just like, nothing can come out before this record.
Yeah.
It obviously worked. And the
I
other
mean,
two,
Ron Fair knew.
you know, I mean, the other two records, they did cool.
They did.
Not like Love.
Well, that was the thing. I think back then it was
The
a
setup.
progression. Nowadays, like
Right.
it's just like throw everything. But back
Yeah.
then it was like we gonna introduce her, and
You,
then
did-
we
you,
gonna,
you used to get chances back in the day.
Right.
used to get chances.
Now you get chances too, but there was a period where it was just like, you got one shot at this. young
Yeah.
fella.
Right.
Yeah, and
It
she was, you know, you were telling her story, right?
Yes,
You were like,
yeah.
this is where I changed my mind. She's on the block. I mean, it was LA, but you know, like,
Yeah, people still think we shot that in the back.
whoops, sorry, it was in the Bay. Where's she
No,
from?
I'll be telling the truth.
Okay,
They
cool.
like, Jay, yo, was that? I said,
Yeah,
nope.
nope. We was in Los
in
Angeles,
LA.
hot ass LA. But yeah, and then you know you got to learn her story, and
Yeah.
then she was in full glam in the middle of Times Square. You know, with
No,
the
because
moment.
y'all even went, no, before that, yeah, I mean, because remember I said I was in the first two.
Oh, that's
the next one was
right.
I Just Want It to Be Over.
Oh well, you know why that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That was the second video.
Yep. But I'm saying then you get the movie,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and you get what's his name at the time? That was the big everybody's music director.
Who hype?
Benny Boom.
Benny Boom.
Benny Boom.
Yeah.
Benny Boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're in Times Square like, we got to catch a flight. We got to get out of here in an hour. Yeah.
It's cracking.
And that was it.
Yeah, it's cracking.
That was it. She was.
But that, you know, like, people need to know the people
Yeah.
who make these things happen, who are part of these things, who are the unsung heroes, who are the in the shadows. You know, that this thing doesn't happen by yourself.
Yeah.
And especially in this day and age, this has to be spoken about because everybody keeps thinking that, you know, artists do it by themselves, especially now because of the internet and because, I just uploaded. Well, after you upload it, what about that manager that reached out to you that helped put you in a room with such and such? And then what about when they helped you get on another record or put somebody else on the remix for you to help the record continue to grow? And what about the lawyer? And what about the marketing person and the A&R and all these other people? Like, listen, I am absolutely an advocate for independence because we should be able to lead our careers. But there takes a building, however you want to look at that,
A team, yeah.
and a team to help you reach these heights.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I'm tired of people not mentioning the people who played a part.
There it is.
I understand that. And listen, I'm very grateful and appreciative. I think there's a part of me that's always going to be the little girl that's still like, I just can't believe any of it happened. And I think there's a part of me that's like, you know, it's God is always going to cover you, right? Like, I'm always going to be covered in wherever I'm supposed to be or what's meant for me. And so I think I think self-promotion is important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously I had to I was like, let me think about it. And like, see, this felt safe. I know y'all, it's a nice show. Like, you talk about positive things.
We have a nice show.
Yeah. I don't want to get, yelled at and what happened in 1992? You're like, I'm like, I don't want to be on those shows. But I still really feel like I was a part of a team. Like, so it feels a bit, and maybe this old school, I don't know, disingenuous to be like, I was this and I was that. And like, there was hundreds of people that made all of these things happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, so many people. So to be like stamping it all the time, which I think happens a lot now. It's just like, as long as you say it louder, like, oh, that's the person that did this. And you're thinking, there's 30 people back there that helped do all that. So that for me feels weird because I'm like, we've only just talked about Michelle Thomas, Manny, Ron, and Keisha, and you as part of. There were dozens and dozens
Damien
more.
Elliott.
There's gonna be people that's gonna watch this and be like, I was there, but she didn't do shit.
But I think the beauty of it is as much as we're gonna get Michael Jordan, right? We're gonna interview Michael Jordan, but we'd love to talk to Craig Hodges.
BJ Armstrong.
We love to talk to Steve Kerr.
I'm nodding my head like, yup, I know exactly who that is.
Like
It's sports with
Yeah,
you.
Okay, sports.
yeah.
Basketball.
like
Go.
it's team
Got it.
Yeah.
because all of those roles
Yeah.
on that team were vital,
Yeah.
and you were a very vital part
Oh,
of those.
thank you guys. You're vital too. If Jay did not show up in that white t-shirt, I'm not sure a video would have got done that day.
The Vixen from the Bay.
She definitely was like, I'm not about to be in no video with no nigga I don't know. I'm like, all right, Keisha. I guess
And there he
I
was,
guess
the
I-
love interest.
I guess I'll do it.
Vixen
And girls loved him too. He
to
was-
this day.
at least we didn't try to make you body roll or anything.
No.
Nobody rolled for Jay ever.
He's like, nah.
It was just like a soap opera though, where I just was like the cheating boyfriend. It's like-
He was
she had a cheating boyfriend in every video practically.
She should have cheated.
You know what?
Did she made the song? Yeah,
Cheated on Jay.
she did. She put Tyrese in the next.
She did. She really, that's right. Tyrese was.
I was a vixen once myself.
Chink Santana was in another video. We just pull people in.
Me and Bryce Wilson wanted the same girl.
Bryce Wilson was part of convincing me to do the video too.
See?
Yeah, because he did the Tony Braxton video.
I mean,
Shout out to all the vixens out there.
We see y'all.
I see you.
that's stupid.
Erica, you've worked on a lot of great music,
Thank you.
a lot of great artists.
Great artist.
Want to go back to when you were pulling out those sleeves and reading those lyrics. Do people want to know
What they want to know?
on this show? Yo, for sure. Top 5. Your top 5. Yeah. Top 5. Your top 5 R&B singers, R&B songs. We wanna know here on this show.
Yeah.
Before you go, what was your part in the top 5? Yes. Yeah. Top 5.
What is happening?
Your top 5.
Yeah.
And
This is why you was worried about him, right here. This is why you was worried about him.
this is why.
Erica, your top 5
Okay.
R&B singers.
Oh, singers. Okay.
Yeah, we'll start there.
Oh my goodness! I should have wrote this down and thought about
I
it.
thought
but
it was
let's
gonna be
think.
easy.
It's never easy.
Never easy.
I mean, Stevie.
Okay.
You got it.
Start there.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Probably Lufa.
Yeah, that. I'll probably
I don't
lose
feel like he gets it enough of the conversation.
Yes, he does.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Good.
Yes, he
Here.
does.
Good.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. R&B singers. Even though his music is different now and he's newer, I would say Labyrinth. His voice is extraordinary.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it.
If you heard this song, the song Jealous that he wrote and sang, like 10, 15 years. I mean, it's the pureness of his voice.
Take us there.
Come on.
Take us there.
Put him in the top 5.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's all gonna mostly be old school.
It's your top 5.
Oh, it's mine.
Yeah.
Anita.
Yeah. I love Anita.
Oof. Singers. I'm trying to keep it to singers. Philip Bailey, maybe.
Why you maybe Philip Bailey? Why would you
Bailey?
maybe Philip
Because
Bailey?
I love Earth, Wind, and Fire so much.
Give
Don't
Philip,
we all?
give him a full confidential spot.
Philip Bailey.
The
Philip
reason.
Bailey.
The reasons.
I mean,
Falsetto like none other.
Yeah, nah, his false is insane.
That's 5, right? Or
That's
you want to do
fine.
some more?
Oh, yeah.
You want more? You want?
no.
Okay,
It's
all right.
too
Yeah,
much
no, it's
stress.
fine.
I'm sweating
No, it's
now.
5. You got you got to do it.
All right, cool.
Top 5 R&B songs.
Oh my God. So amazing. To the moon is it Luther's? Sorry. Is that it? 'Cause So Amazing, right?
That's a great- yeah.
Is that the name
Yep.
of it? Yeah. Okay. That song kills me. Try a Little Tenderness.
Yes.
That's just lyrics.
Yeah.
Lyrics. Yes.
You Bring Me Joy.
I just like as you name these songs, like the care that went into production, the care that went into lyricism, the care that went into
And the way the performance of them is so meaningful. Like whoever was bringing her joy brought her
Whoever
joy.
was bringing her joy.
Man, what?
You was like, yeah,
Yeah. No,
I
you can
want
hear it in
that.
the performance.
I want that. I'm a love girl, so yeah.
Clearly from these songs.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a
Clearly.
love girl. Oh my God, how did I miss Aretha on the other list?
It's fine.
With Aretha
Yeah,
Franklin.
Aretha Franklin. Oh my God. Oh, what's the Aretha song? Girl, I can't think now. Sorry. It's one of my favorites too. I'll come back
On
to
your
it.
playlist? Look it up on your phone.
Huh? Oh yeah.
Playlist, yeah.
I'm like, where's my phone?
Yeah, I'm
Can I
scared
do
of it.
that? Oh, Natural Woman.
Oh.
I was like, it's a big song. I
Yeah.
just was like, why
Yeah.
my brain won't let me?
Yeah.
Again, the lyrics and the performance. I want to feel like a natural woman. Aretha.
Come on.
Was that 5? I think that was 5 too.
4.
Oh, was it? You counting?
You
know
do
what,
the math.
Jay
You do the
Valentine?
math.
You know what, Jay Valentine? It's probably gonna be between what's see the name. I don't know the names of songs. This is me all day. Like, how's the song go? Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. The world can't get no better. Sing that. If it's just, let it be. Come on.
Na 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 na.
Thank you. That one. That one. Can you please sing that song? Yeah, that would be the other one. That's 5.
Teddy P.
Yeah.
P.
Yeah. That song.
Yeah.
That was, it makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I feel like
I want to know what those sessions were like.
I do too.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
I think we know.
Yeah.
You know what?
Moving on.
You know what? You're always here to bring us back.
Bring us back to the hood.
To bring us back to the hood.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much. I'm just a little girl making music movies in my head.
So, somebody had to figure out a way to fill up those shoe boxes of money.
Hey man, come on now.
Lord,
Don't tell the truth in here.
Lord,
Don't you do it.
I don't even. Whew, yeah, those are. Yeah, I would say that for me. So that's what moves me is just like things about love and things that make you feel good. Everything else, turn up is fine, but that's
Emotion.
Yeah, emotion.
yeah. I think music should make you feel things like whatever that is, whatever you need that to be.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna build a Voltron. You're a super R&B artist.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
with this artist, you got to pick the characteristics from one artist
Okay.
to make this one artist.
Okay.
All right, from a bunch of however many artists you want to pick from.
Okay.
But these are the characteristics we're looking for. We were looking for the vocal, the performance style, the styling, the heart of the artist,
Okay.
the passion of the artist.
Okay.
So what one vocal are you going to get to build your super R&B artist?
Just one?
Just one.
Shit. I'm probably gonna say Stevie.
Mm.
Because he has the most.
Universal.
Everywhere. Everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I
He's
love
versatile.
Stevie. Just
Yeah.
saw Stevie the other day.
Yeah,
He
he's
went
extraordinary.
He went crazy.
Still.
Like I was crying on the inside crazy. I was like, I can't let this nigga see me crying, man. I was like finished.
Yeah, he's it.
Yeah.
He's it for me, yeah. Okay.
Performance style.
This is gonna be controversial, I think.
No, it's not.
That's not.
It's not. At all.
Chris Brown?
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know
Oh.
Michael Jackson and
No,
Yeah,
for you, it's
for you.
Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Chris is just extraordinary as a performer.
He is.
Leaves all the things on the stage.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Love that.
Sorry, old people my age.
Old people my age. Hey, I'll be at every concert like this.
Yep, me too. I'm like, even when he's done in Afrobeats, the way that he belongs
The great word
is extraordinary.
is different.
yeah, he just
He belongs.
He
never
belongs.
seems like he's out of place.
never.
Doing anything.
No, it's
And he-
pretty.
So, yeah, you're supposed to be
Well,
here.
he does the work.
Right.
There you go.
Does the work.
There you go.
He does the deep dive.
He's yeah.
He'll say, "Where are they doing this at? Okay, let's go over there and let's hang out with them and let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's eat
Yeah.
their food. Let's."
And then he'll tell you about him.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you heard about? Like, I never heard him. Well, you should listen to this. Yeah.
Yeah, he
and
loves
he
it.
worked with him.
Yeah.
He does the
Yeah.
work, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
Styling, the drip.
Styling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard because I care about that the least.
Mm.
Like Marvin, maybe because he was just fly.
Just fly.
Like
Just anytime he
those
showed
old
up.
photos of him with the thing
Yeah.
and the he just seemed so effortlessly fly. I
It
like
was-
that.
Yeah.
I like the downplayed. I'm not trying to be cool, but I am cool.
But I am.
Yeah,
cool.
for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a drip. I'm not I'm missing all the
You
drip
picked
thingies.
Marvin. Marvin was drippy.
Thank
so-
you. Okay, see? Oh, thank you.
You accidentally.
I mean,
did
clearly,
that.
I'm still wearing dirty Converse, so obviously.
That's a drip, though.
Is it? Is it?
It is a drip. Don't
All
try
right.
don't do this. All right. The passion of the artist.
Oh, gosh.
Who make you believe it?
There's so many. Maybe it would be between Marvin and Stevie, I think, again.
Okay. Yeah.
I just think they cared about music till it hurt.
Marvin,
Or till it made 'em feel
Marvin
good.
Wonder.
Marvin Wonder.
Stevie Gay.
Yeah.
I
I think
love that.
I feel like, yeah, I just feel like at least for me, they just sound like they care so much, or Mars means cared so much. But yeah, man, you can't be that. You can't create that and just not care with every part of your soul.
And another addition for you, big publisher.
Oh.
Who's gonna write for this artist?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I hate to be redundant, but I mean, Stevie.
I mean,
like
he is one of the greatest of all time.
He's 100%er.
Like,
He's a guy that you just.
I'm like,
yeah. I mean,
how do you miss that? I mean,
Stevie writes for Stevie.
Stevie writes for Stevie.
Yeah, like
Stevie writes for Stevie, man.
He's the guy. Like, I mean, there's so many though. I mean, there's the Rod Tempertons on the like. There's just, there's just all the amazing penmanships of pens out in the world.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, writers are special, man.
Okay,
they really are. Y'all really are.
Thank you.
We try to.
I mean, because think about honestly, okay, because it's the flowers, right? It's, you know, to express yourself in a way that is meaningful, but also can touch so many people, right? That you can articulate emotion so well that people from anywhere can catch the same, like, oh, yes, that's what I wanted to say. And then for yourselves, you can do it for yourself, and you can also give it to another artist and they can have that same experience. That's such a gift. Like, that is such a gift. Like, that part to me is like nothing happens without that. And yes, the voices and the look and the drip and the performance and all of those things matter. But like, without that piece, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's someone's humming and it's you feel it. That's amazing. But there's nothing without that, like, that story, that that feeling. That's, to me, you know, anyway. So
I agree with you.
To be
100%.
able to do that is like, I'm always like, I think that's also why, because I can't do it. So I'm like, oh wow, you're really special. Like, that's amazing. Like, you said that way. Like, even when you think about like Phineas and Billy, right? You're like, what were you thinking when you said that? What? How did you? How? What?
I think most writers can't even truly explain it.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly,
Yeah.
like, you know, 'cause we all know each other. We all have had
Yeah.
conversations about, you know, like you said, what were you thinking about? Or, and it just kind of, as you have the conversation, usually it veers.
Yeah.
It goes off into like, wait, hold on, we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but then I was.
The how. And the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but because it's, and we speak about this. I think it's our form of magic.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, when I worked with Rico Love, I remember, like, he would do a song and, you know, Daddy's Home, right? Like Usher. And I would be driving with the song playing, like, and I know Rico. I work with Rico, everything.
Right.
And
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how the hell did
he-
you
yeah.
write this song, bro? Like, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing.
We just
you know?
exist in this weird space
Yeah.
where for us it's just like, it's just kind of what we do.
Yeah, especially he's
Just-
just, I go in the booth and just man, come at me. You know, like, I go in there and just blah, 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 blah,
Hey,
you
and
know?
I can attest, Rico Love, I'm like, hey,
Oh, yeah,
I need a
nah.
song like this, Rico. He played this coming right up.
Yep.
And he just,
Yeah.
Yep.
Nah, yeah, his dial up.
he go right in there and just
Yeah.
get right to it. I'm like this. See, that's why I called you, man.
It's,
That's why
I mean,
called you.
even like if you take Sean Garrett,
Yep.
when he did
Yep.
Buttons, I was in the studio when Sean Garrett and Polo did Buttons.
Mm.
And I remember sitting there, the beats playing, the beats crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And Sean is like, okay, take it back. take it back. And you're watching it like, what the hell is happening? And next thing you know, it's like this ain't up my buttons, man. And you're like,
yeah.
But that's what the
when I left the studio, like,
yeah.
yo. And it wasn't finished. You just were like,
You knew
there's just no way.
Yeah.
This boy is getting something.
It's coming
and it is
from
happening.
somewhere, yeah.
And that record was so huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the part. Like that, I guess that's why you self-promote and all that. Like, I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, but he was the one that was there with the thing coming through him, and on the microphone and made that song. Like, I just was there, right? Like, so that part is like, it's just such a gift.
Yeah.
It's just a gift to be in the room. And that's the part that I hope we don't lose. Like, I just hope we don't lose that. Cause it is it's so, I have so much gratitude. Like, truly, even being here, you guys, this was so fun.
Come on now, we're not done with you.
Oh, you're not?
No,
I got more listening.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
We got one more thing.
Okay, shoot.
Yeah, we got one more thing.
Uh-oh.
I ain't saying no names.
Hey.
I ain't saying no names.
Come on.
I ain't saying no names.
Yeah,
I ain't saying no
we
names. Who you was, who you was with, what you did. Don't say shit. I ain't saying no names.
Okay. There's just so many, you guys. There's so many names not to say.
Listen, so you here right now to this
Okay.
last segment of the show.
All right.
It's called I Ain't Saying No Names.
Okay.
Where you tell us a story, funny or fucked up,
Ooh.
or funny and fucked up.
Ooh.
The only rule to the game is you can't say no names.
Yeah, I was working one night in the studio with the producer that never would finish songs on time. So you literally have to stand over them and keep their train on the track. Like, you literally have to stand over them to get the songs done. Very, very famous producer. So I was working, trying to get them to finish said song. And what started at like 7 p.m., I think I got out of the studio at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon the next day
Wow.
to get the song done for my record, because I had to be at a meeting with someone that I worked with, executive, at another studio to discuss the an anxiety-ridden producer who was upset that their song had been changed. So I thought I was going to be able to go home, take a shower, sleep, and all of these things. But I was being summoned to be at this other meeting, which was like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So you go straight there.
So I'm not cute. I don't ever smell, but you know,
There's a chance.
there was a chance.
There's a chance.
I did put a sweatshirt on, trudging over to said studio. And I was really asked to be there because I didn't know this at the time, because the producer was pissed. I didn't know. I just thought it was a meeting between producer A and big producer executive B. It was not. And producer executive B knew that it wasn't going to be uncomfortable. And so I got invited over there with no sleep, with no shower, already frustrated from the night before, only to have to sit and listen to producer A scream and curse out producer B for changing their song on what was one of the biggest songs of that time period. They didn't change it back. Song was a big hit. But I sat there and listened to them scream. And then I ended up being like the person in the room that was like, oh, you're my person. Like, you're my person. So I look like the bad guy sitting in the room while producer B is screaming at producer A about how their song got changed and was forever changed, even though it was a hit. So y'all can figure that out and put that together. It's not maybe as juicy unless you fill in the
I
blanks.
mean, listen, for us, we know that kind of. We know that
very
shit.
So
insider information.
it was not comfortable because
We know them moments.
I had no power in the situation.
Right.
And also, like, that was what used to happen all the time.
right.
So you're
Right.
just like,
Yeah. The levels.
and I'm not the, like, so now you're like, you're the label, you know? So that was bad too. But yeah, that's my little story. Hope it lived up.
Those are those uncomfortable moments.
Those
it was
are
bad.
and those are
We
real situations.
It was bad. And I was not prepared. I was tired and it just was not, I couldn't even say anything. It was just like, what do you got to say? I was like, I didn't even know this was going to happen.
You could just be like, well, I think the shit jamming.
Yeah. Could you imagine? That would be what Jay Valentine was in.
Oh, that's exactly what he say. Shit jamming to me. I don't know. Erica, we appreciate
Yeah.
you. You know, you forever family. You know what I mean?
Thank you guys. This was fun.
We all take each other back to humble beginnings. You know what I mean? Of just when this shit was different.
The new guy from Virginia that was going to get.
Yeah, I was from Maryland.
I'm from Maryland.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The DMV.
The DMV.
Sorry.
DMV.
The DMV.
Listen, I've performed at every church in Virginia, so it works. But you know, it's been a great journey for you.
Thank
And
you. And thank you for having me.
No, we're happy to have you.
I really appreciate it.
Happy to have you to give your story, your perspective, and get an opportunity to speak on just what you've been able to do in this shit. You know what I mean? The work that you've been able to put in.
Thank you.
Whether you like to do it or not,
Right.
it is important
Thank you.
and it was needed.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tank.
I'm Jay Valentine.
And this is the R&B Money Podcast, the authority on all things R&B. And this has been an episode with a family member who really does all things, Erica Grayson.
Oh, thank you.